Someday they will tell tales of the great floating shovels and pickaxes of old, but for today, they are merely a myth. Hello everybody, I'm InTheLittleWood, also known as Martin, and welcome back to Fortnite. So today we got no face cam because I want to keep this a very visually clean experience so we can talk through the brand new replay mode which has just come out in the latest patch. So first and foremost, you're going to want to know how to open your replays. They're actually stashed away a little further than I thought they might be. So you have to open the career menu, which is the new sort of leaderboard profile area, and you'll find them inside of there. Then you simply choose one, hit play, and then you'll be brought to this screen. So I think the best way of going through this is by working through the controls left to right, and you can basically then learn what does what. So let's start off with the far left button. You press it, the HUD disappears, it vanishes, it's gone. Now I don't know exactly how you get it to come back. I've been doing a double escape press, just simply because I don't want to move the camera or anything like that. I want it to stay just as it is. The next option is the camera controls, so let's bring those up. So these obviously change a little bit depending on what type of camera that you're using. I think it would be best to show you this if I were to change to, say, a drone camera. So one of the drone camera types is drone free, which basically means you're able to freely manipulate and control where it is your camera moves to. So you can use the mouse wheel to zoom in and out. You can use E and Q to raise and fall, W, A, S, and D to move around, and then you can pan and tilt either by holding left click to turn, but that gives you a little bit of like a camera noise. Listen to this. Do you hear that sound effect? It's a little bit annoying. Or you can do it simply by holding down the right click and you get a silent pan, which is quite nice. And then in terms of speed, you can change the speed of your drone and how quickly it can move around the world simply by doing this. So look, go really, really fast and then slow it right the way down. And then speed it right the way up and slow it right down. And that's done with the minus and the equals keys, which are found at the end of, obviously, of course, the number keys along the top of your keyboard. God, this really feels like the start to, like, you know, the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Hey, listen, whoa, hey. There he is. I didn't even mean for that to pan so correctly. That was amazing. So here is our guy. Look at him. All right. So let's test out some of the different camera settings then. So let's go ahead and bring that up. And let's start on the left-hand side, okay? So we've got things like auto exposure. So exposure is how bright or dark an image is going to be. If you turn that off, you'll notice immediately everything sort of descends into darkness. For the most part, I imagine most people are going to want to leave the exposure at its default, but it's nice that we have the option to change it. And then you can drag the bar up and down, and you can enter heaven, or you can go all the way into the darkness of the universe. But for the most part, I think I'm going to be using the normal exposure. Now, aperture is something that I don't fully understand myself still. Essentially, aperture is the pupil of a camera. So imagine a camera lens. It's what would be the pupil on a human eye, but on the camera itself. It's how much light it lets into the picture, and that can affect all different kinds of things. It can affect light, it can affect depth of field, all those different kinds of things, even though we've got things like depth of field and field of view with the old focal length just beneath it. So the lower the number is, the wider the angle is going to be of the shot, and obviously the higher it is, the closer the angle is going to be of the shot, and you can go right in and see whether this guy is a nail biter. And then other than that, you've also got autofocus. So if the game is able to detect what it thinks the subject or the focus of your subject is, then it will actually blur everything else around it out. Or you can manually choose the focus distance if you're doing a fixed camera situation. And then you can't really see it here, but as you move this up and down, background images should come in and out of focus and blur and not blur. Alright, so we've moved into a gameplay sequence. This is once we're off the bus, we've done our initial landing, and this was my first encounter. So let's open up the camera controls and show you what we can do. First and foremost, we've got nameplates, so you can see the character's currently equipped item. You can see their health bar, their potion bar, and as well as a number that's represented next to them. So if you press M, that brings up the map. And basically anybody that is within your playable region, so this circle you can see on the right-hand side here across the map, that's not the current border of the storm. That's actually how much of the world is being recorded by your camera. So say I wanted to go and see what this guy over here is doing, I'd simply click on number 7, and it takes me all the way up to the hill where I can see old Disco Steve over here has just gone ahead and opened a chest and is looting some items, and it's actually glitching out to all hell around that bush. Let me hit play real quick. There he goes. Look at him go. Alright, I'm going to open the map. We're going to go back to our situation, which was unfolding over here, and I can move the camera over to this angle. Now, the reason that I'm doing this is because I want to show you the next option that we have in the camera controls, which is going to be the player outline. So my character is completely obstructed obstructed by right now by the camera because of a ledge. So if I turn on player outlines, you'll now see that I can see a massive green outline around my character. I can even see the legs of Ryan over here as well, which is cool. So let me just zoom out ever so slightly, get that full corner cam on the go. There we are. And then the other options we've got are the replay region, which I'll show you in a moment, damage effects and high quality effects. You can turn those on and off. That's basically if the player gets hit, you'll see the extra little like sparks and flares that come off of them, or you can choose to keep those turned off if you're wanting a cleaner image for your video that you're making. So let's just hit play on this simply by pressing the space bar, and we'll let this unfold. So here we go. Potato aim left, right, and center. I think I've already rocked him with one shot with the old deagle, but here I've just got my burst rifle out, and there it is. And you might start to notice the lag that I've been encountering in a moment. Look at that. Look at that little swing across the stairs. Oh, and he moved again. Yeah, the servers have been a little bit funky, which is why I've got no, like, decent gameplay for this. I've just got loads of laggy gameplay. Speaking of, let's go have a look at our guy over here. So, he's currently sorted himself out with some bandages. He's not doing too badly. And I think now we can go ahead and we can fast forward the gameplay just a teensy little bit. So, let me hit pause on that. And I'm going to go through these controls. So, this button right here, that will skip you right the way back to the very beginning of the match. This will take you to the very end. This one right here will actually skip backwards in time by a little bit. This will skip forwards in time ever so slightly. So let's keep going until this guy's built his structure up, which is right about there. And if I go like this, this is where our combat encounter begins. Now, before that happens, I want to show you a very special camera that we have access to. So the next camera I want to show you is called Drone Follow. So if I move this camera over to about this position right here, actually, I'm going to move it out ever so slightly from here to there. And as soon as I hit play, you'll notice that this camera is going to remain static in the world, but it will always focus on the character that I currently have selected. So you'll notice that as the character starts to make its way over towards me, and I think he's going to ascend the wall here, and he's basically going to put himself up to this ledge, you'll notice that the camera continues to follow and follow and follow and follow, and I'm literally not pressing any keys right now in order to keep the shot on him. Now, the final camera I haven't shown you yet is somewhat similar to the third-person camera. Obviously, third-person camera keeps the character center in the frame no matter what, whereas Drone Attach, which is the final one we're going to look at, is a little bit more fluid with its movement, so the character is off-center there, and if I was to hit play, you'll notice that the character stays relatively in the same position that you initially say. So if you wanted the character slightly further on the far right-hand side, then that's all good. You might notice how glitchy my character is right now. The server was a little bit funky when we started this today, but you can see that it stays relative to where the character was on the screen when you started, rather than forcing the center of the frame. And I think if I just rotate the camera slightly, there we go, and I lost that encounter. GG, Ripperoni, and you'll notice that I think it's about here, which is where the replay stops. So I think at the end of your death animation, once that little drone has picked you up and teleported your body away, that is where everything finishes. So the final thing I want to show you today isn't evidence of my potato aim, which is being gloriously documented here. This is going to be so good, by the way, when like friends are saying like, oh no, I definitely shot that guy and got a headshot. You can now call them out on it. But anyway, the thing that I wanted to show you last was this. So let me go right the way down to a steeper angle, cool sky shot of my character, and we can now talk about finally the replay region. So the sky is going to go from a beautiful blue to a horrid grey. It doesn't look good. Now, the reason for this is previously I mentioned to you that you can only record a certain radius around your character. So basically on the map, you can see it right there. The storm is going to be moving to that circle, whereas this circle is the actual space that is being recorded by your character. So we've got ourselves and Zia fighting over here, and we've got Diablo over here doing, I think, just a little bit of tree smashing, if I remember correctly. Let me speed this guy up. Yeah, there you go. It's like watching some kind of Benny Hill, like, comedy sketch. Look at him go. He's so quick, so super. So I'm going to leave this match unfolding as it is right now. It's going to be playing in real time. You can see both characters are over there doing their thing. Is that my aim? I don't know what that is. That might have been a little glitch just there. But you'll notice over here, look, as we start to get a little bit higher up, and as my character moves around the world, the recording region is moving with me. So it always stays a set distance, and it basically has a set radius. So anybody that's inside a Lucky Landing right now isn't being filmed. Anybody that's at this bridge down here is being filmed. And that's simply how it works. I think that's very easy to understand for most people. Now, very quickly before we go, I genuinely want to experiment with this. I'm very, very curious as to whether, yeah, it does. So I was wondering, what happens to the bridge as you get closer and further away from it? Because a moment ago it was sort of a mesh, wasn't it? And now the bridge is actually come into a full render, into like full quality view. Because I guess that's going to need to happen in replay mode. Otherwise you're going to fly over to a certain area that might not necessarily be near your character, but you might want to see another combat scenario unfolding, and all you're going to be met with is blobs. What is going on over here? Is this mid-reload animation? Let me see. Hold on. Play. What? They're just stuck. This is playing right now. Oh, no, you know what it is? It's the timer is finished. This was the moment of my death. This was the freeze frame of this character in the world. My God. Talk to the hand because the face is not listening. Anyway, that is it for today, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. We've gone through all of the controls in the brand new replay mode, and as well as the 5 different cameras, how to move between different players, and all that good stuff. If there's anything I missed, or if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I'll address them, or other people that are probably far more knowledgeable about things like aperture will be able to reply to you as well. Have an awesome one, and I will see you all later for a Port of Fort video. Ta-ra!